Hey VCers, it's Monday. Hope everybody's having a good start to your week there. Wanted to just check in with a new Kinks album review, or continue with our Kinks albums reviews. So when we last left our heroes, it was 1972, and this album had been released. This is on the Reprise label, their former label at the time. Still is their former label, but yeah, this is not 1972 music. This is collection of songs from 1966 to 1970 from their career on their earlier label. But fear not, or maybe fear, because in 1972 we also get a brand spanking new album from the Kinks, two albums in 1 year. Uh, this is a double album. That means there's two of them. Show you there's the gatefold shot of them in concert. There's the cover, kind of a goofy cover. I'm not too crazy about that. There's the back cover with the rest of the band and a song listing. First album is a studio album of all new songs. Second album is a live album. This would be their second live album after their 1967 live album called The Live Kinks, or The Kinks at Kelvin Hall in England. So, yeah, so we get two Kinks albums in 1 year. And I just got to say that this album makes this album look like chopped liver. And not just any old chopped liver. I'm talking chopped liver you bought at Food Line, so it was already old and out past its sell by date, and then you left it outside for a month and brought it in to eat it, chopped liver. So this is a wonderful, perfect, it needs to be in anybody's collection who loves rock and roll or 60s music. This is, well, it's a pretty lousy album. So, I don't know. Let's get to the good news first, what little there is of it. It's another concept album. The concept, or the theme running through this is fame and the tribulations of life on the road and being famous, and I don't know, something like that. I can't really be bothered to figure it out much past that. Again, it's, most of us can't really relate to being famous rock stars going out on tour. If the songs were better or more interesting, maybe that would work, but they're not, so it really not not very interesting overall. What else can we say about this? I was kind of thinking Everybody's in Showbiz is the title of this album. Came out in August of '72. I'm wondering if Ray Davies might have been a little prescient or ahead of his time and kind of foreseen or predicted the culture we live in now, where everybody, it seems, is in show business with all the crappy reality TV shows and YouTube sensations. And hey, wait a minute, the VC is kind of a YouTube sensation. Other than the VC, the YouTube, everybody's on the internet and everybody's a star and in showbiz in some ways, maybe. Or maybe I'm just reading too much into it. Maybe he meant it as a sort of a takeoff on Sly Stone's song, Everybody is a Star, which is a great song and better than anything on this album, unfortunately. So, but like I said, the good stuff. Album starts off with a song called Here Comes a New Day, which is a really neat song. I mean, it's catchy as all get out. It's got a nice melody. I give that song on a scale of 1 to 10. I give it a 6. There's another song on here, Sitting in My Hotel, which kind of gets a little close to mushy music for me, but it kind of works all the same. It's pleasant and nice song. I like it. I give it a 5. And it's trying to find the thing here. It's sort of if my friends could see me now that I've become a success and sitting in my hotel looking out at the great big world. It's I kind of like it. The music's a little mushy, but it works for some reason. And then there's the hit. This album didn't really do well, sales or chart wise, and none of the songs did well. But Celluloid Heroes, Everybody's a Star and Everybody's a Dreamer. Most people that are somewhat familiar with the Kinks have heard that song or get played on the radio some, and it's a one of them that they play in concert ever after this came out. It's so it's kind of, I guess it's the closest thing to a hit from this album. But everyone's a star, everyone's a dreamer, and if you walk down Hollywood Boulevard, blah blah blah, and there's a line about fame and failure walk hand in hand in Hollywood. It's just a you know, it's one of their uh, big song with a lot of their fans. Personally, it's I don't know, it's 6 minutes and 2 seconds, and at that amount, it is probably about 2 or 3 minutes too long. So yeah, I don't know. I give it a. It's got a nice melody in parts, but it goes on too long. I'll give it a 4. The song right before that, Celluloid Heroes, is the last song on the album. The song on the second side of the album, I mean, last song before that, or the second to last song, I'll get it out sooner or later, Look a Little on the Sunny Side. I really like that. I think that's my favorite song on the album. It's got a kind of 1930s music, vaudeville music, a lot of horns feel. It's an upbeat, fun song, and it almost sounds like the Kinks of old, way back 2 or 3 years before this album came out, when they were at the top of their game. It's not quite there, but it's just close at times, and I think it's my favorite song on the album. I give that a 7. So there's the studio album, the second album, and oh well, again, they've no longer on the Reprise label. They're on the RCA label now, and this is their second album on RCA. First one having been Muswell Hillbillies, which I did a review of yesterday. And so the second album is a live album. Oddly enough, it doesn't have any of their hits per se, other than Lola from the album 2 albums ago. But it doesn't have any of their earlier '60s stuff. You're not going to find All Day and All of the Night or Sunny Afternoon or anything on this live album. And I don't know if this was a whole show or just part of a show, or sounds like it's actually taken from different shows on this tour. But yeah, the oldest thing on here is from 1969's Arthur album, a song called Brainwashed. Great song off of a great album, one of the best albums ever made, which is kind of an embarrassment to have it on here, because this is anything but a great album. But the the live version of Brainwashed is pretty good. I like the studio version better. I'm not a huge fan of live albums. I do like some, but you know, having said that, and I read a review of this album where some guy said that the live album would be better used as a large black poker chip. I wouldn't go that far, because I actually kind of enjoy the live album section of this, and I didn't think I would. I bought this album just a week or so ago, and I had never got this back in the day when I got into the Kinks. I'd heard some of the songs off of it, but I never heard the live album, so I was a little bit pleasantly surprised. It's not a world beater or anything like that, but it's better than I thought. And there's actually some of the songs, all the songs on here are off Lola or Muswell Hillbillies, with the exception of Brainwashed. And then there's a couple of, they do the Day-O, the Banana Boat song, Daylight Coming, We Gotta Go. That's a cover, and he does Babyface, the old Babyface. You got the cutest little Babyface. It's kind of embarrassing, actually, on that. But everything else is just off their last 2 albums, with the exception of Brainwashed. But some of these songs that were on Muswell Hillbillies that I didn't really care for on the studio album actually work out a little bit better in a live setting. They're a little more energetic and upbeat. They're still not really great songs, but they're just a little bit better. So yeah, it's not bad. I like their '60s live album a lot better than this, the Live Kinks, and I like their 1980 album, One for the Road, the double live album, quite a bit better than this one too. But it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, and I don't know how much I'm going to pull it out and play it in the future, but you know, it's listenable, and almost enjoyable or slightly enjoyable. I'll say that. So yeah. So the live album, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'll give a 4. The studio album with there's 4 songs on there that I like and I talked about. The rest of the songs on here, I've heard worse music and songs, but it's just so generic. You listen to it, and 2 minutes after you've heard the song, you can't remember what you just heard, and even while you're listening to it, there's one song, Supersonic Rocket Ship. I'll get it out. That was kind of a concert song, a regular concert song for them in years after this album. A horrible song. It's just sort of a muzak, sort of a bad lounge band. Remember Murph and the Magic Tones from the Blues Brothers? It kind of sounds like that, but instead of doing soft piano muzak, they're doing sort of a calypso music that's sort of this horrible song. The rest of the songs on here are just bland, 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 and generic. Ray's lyric writing abilities, he was one of the best lyricists ever, right up there with Lennon and McCartney and Dylan and you know anyone else you want to name. Just a year or two ago, and all of a sudden he's just these cliched and ham-fisted lyrics, and so but mainly it's just you listen to these songs and you can't remember them right after you heard them. They don't really make any impression. They're just sort of bland background. Eh. So the 4 songs there that I liked out of 10 songs on the one album, and there's 11 songs on the live album, so you have 21 songs altogether. I give the live album a 4. I'll give the studio album a 3 overall, so we'll say 3.5 for the whole package. It's pretty crap, unfortunately. We'll and I mean, especially given the embarrassment that this came out, this wonderful, perfect, you need to buy this album came out the same year as this, even highlights just how awful this album is, with the exception of maybe 4 songs that are okay. And even at that, they're not essential. They're just good. We'll see if the Kinks get any better on their next album with the next time. Have a good Monday night, everybody. And at least it's Tuesday tomorrow, so